Hey folks, I'm here with the Viking 1706XLS, I believe is how those letters were put together. Well, if you grew up pop-up or fold-down camping, however you decide to say it, if you grew up with a fold-down pop-up, you probably remember some great things about them, and then you may remember some things that you didn't like, a few challenges. Well, the industry's addressed that. The Viking by Coachman has got some great features. We're going to walk around the outside, and then we'll take a little bit of a break, and then we'll go on in the inside. The first thing I want to do is call your attention to these great big windows. That's one of the advantages of a pop-up camper, is to have all of this great air movement, you can see everything around you. So if you've got a great spot lakeside or mountainside, you're not going to miss anything. The other thing is, on these windows you also have some clear fabric as well. So if it's cold, we can seal her up a little bit and make that furnace do its job. Most of our units are going to come in without an air conditioner. However, they're all braced and wired to be able to add one in. So know that that's a rough in already. It's going to save you some money when you add your air conditioner. So I'm going to go down here just a little bit. Here's that crank, and that's probably one of the things that people remember that they didn't like so much about a fold down or a pop-up. Well, let's move around just a little bit. Right over here, you can see these gears with a 1/4-inch drill adapter bit and a cordless drill. Now it's a power tongue jack. It'll actually, not a tongue jack, it's a power option here, and it's going to pop this up or take it down for you without all of that cranking and the things that you didn't like. While we're underneath here, I'm going to draw your attention to this solid piece of plywood here. If you remember too, one of the other things that we didn't like was putting in the supports, and you don't see those support bars that required you to have to kind of shoulder up the shelf and then get the supports in. That's gone now. This is very, very thick, will hold more than 1,000 pounds. Does a great job of eliminating that chore that we hated about setting up camp. So we're just gonna stand up here a little bit. By the way, we're on fabric that you don't have to worry. This is the old nylon fabric here that you don't have to worry about touching the wall. So very modern, good tight mesh here. So it's gonna keep out a lot of those biting bugs. As we move around the outside of the camper, this is a metal. It's an automotive aluminum instead of fiberglass, so we don't have to worry about delamination. It's going to look nice for a lot longer. It's going to be very useful for you. Right down here, this is the drain for your tank. And great things, a lot of the old pop-ups didn't have water. We actually have a 16-gallon fresh water tank in our Viking. So you can actually have water inside the camper. Now, we don't have a water heater, however, but we do have water in the camper. You don't have to go fill that big old cube and haul it down to the campsite. Here's your shore power, of course. And as we move around the camper, pretty self-explanatory. I will draw your attention to the rock guard panel that we have on both the front and the back. That's going to help keep your camper looking nicer, longer. And we do have a bumper back here as well. There are some bike attachments and toy attachments that you can add to your Viking. As we step around this way, this is an actual mount for a little grill right here, cooktop. And a cool thing from Coachman, we have a little D-ring right here. This is a handy place to go ahead and hook up your pet. If you saw a certain National Lampoon movie, I would encourage you not to do that to your dog. Make sure that everybody's unleashed and ready to go before you break camp. So as we step over here to the door, you have your little door right here. The rest of that door stores the whole door stores very neatly up above here. You're just going to detach that, and it will slip down inside here. Very easy to do. Got a nice fold-up step, so there's no dragging a little step ladder along. And while we're again down low, I want to draw your attention to the fact that we have both a rear stabilizer, which we typically have on a pop-up, but we also have stabilizer jacks in the front. So it's going to help make this feel rock solid. Now we're going to take just a second. We're going to step inside the camper. We're going to look at a little bit of the floor plan here. Know that Viking comes in multiple floor plans. Your weights are great, friendly for a lot of towing opportunities, mostly under 1,000 pounds, and they're going to give you oftentimes another 1,000 to 1,200 pounds of cargo carrying capacity. Now let's step inside. Folks, thanks for joining me inside the Coachmen Viking 1706XLS. This is not the largest floor plan. Actually, there are several floor plans that are even bigger than this, but I just wanted you to kind of get an idea. We've got a great, like the teddy bear mattress here, a lot of thick foam right here. There again, there's that plywood we talked about, that really solid support for the bed so we don't have to have that additional chore of bracing everything once we get inside. We've got reinforcing bars right here to give us some extra strength. This is raised on the Goshen lift system. It is a tried and true mechanism, steel. It's very strong. I think you're going to find that it's great in the campground. We've got a rock solid feeling in this camper right now with those 4 stabilizer jacks that we talked about. Plenty of room to hang out on a rainy day. As I mentioned before, we don't bring them in with an air conditioner. This is an option that you can add. It is what we call roughed in, as a way to say it. It's braced. The roof is braced and wired for it, so it's going to save you some money if you choose to add an air conditioner later. You may want to try this sort of camping without an air conditioner. Certainly, we've got power inside, so you can use a fan as long as you're doing so safely. Well, we do have our own little galley right here, even though we do see 2 faucets, and one is marked for hot and one is marked for cold. It is cold and cold, folks, but you do have a nice sink. We don't have a gray water tank in this camper. We do have a drain. A lot of folks will choose to attach a hose and route that out away from the camper. I'm sure your neighbors would appreciate it if you don't send it to their campsite. Inside, we do have a low pressure gas stove, and that's important to keep in mind. That's going to be safer for the inside of the camper. And of course, we can use this as a heat shield. We don't want to get a lot of heat back here on our nylon. One of the things that you're seeing too in this gray fabric look is a detachable curtain. So we can pull this completely away and see outside. I talked a little bit about the plastic fabric that we can use. That zips down so that we have airflow through the screen, or if it's a little chilly, we can zip that up, still get light in the camper, run the furnace, and it's very warm. So don't make the mistake of assuming that a pop-up is not going to be as comfortable as a traditional travel trailer or motorhome. As I said, they've made a lot of great changes that really make these a great option, particularly for folks who can't tow a lot of weight. So I'm going to move over here to these little sofas are called gaucho sofas, and they've got vinyl on both sides. Up to you to decide which way you want to display them. Gaucho sofa is going to work this way. See if I can get this out without struggling. You're going to pull this forward, and then the cushion will fill in back here so that this can be much wider. So this offers you some additional options for sleeping. We'll scoot that back in. Other bed right here. I don't know if you can see these corner windows. Again, this is just something that's going to bring the outdoors in, and that's one of the reasons I really love a pop-up, is you really have an opportunity to do what you came out to go camping for, to see the outdoors. Well, folks, there are just a lot of things I could tell you about Coachmen's Vikings. As I said, they come in multiple floor plans. If you've got questions or you want to know more, please call me here at Mount Comfort RV. My name is Susan Dillman Stills. Thanks for joining me.